All right, NBA free agency begins Sunday at 12:01 a.m. Eastern, so it's a good time to bring in somebody who knows more stuff than we do, our friend Brian Windhorst. Now, Brian, you have reported that LeBron will hunker down with friends in the decision cave in the Caribbean. Well, what's going on with this cave?
This is quite a commentary on modern media. Back in 2014, when they hunkered down to make up their final decision on going back to Cleveland, LeBron and his really small group of advisors, they called it being in the decision cave. It was sort of a joke that they had. So today on First Take, I said they'll hunker down in the decision cave, and LeBron's in the Caribbean right now. And everybody thought I was talking about a literal cave in the Caribbean. It's just a figure of speech for what they talk about getting together and making up their mind. And that's what's going to happen. And it's really a small group, guys. I mean, it's a couple of people that he's known and trusted for 15 or 20 years, and his wife, Savannah, who's a very important part of this decision. And it's not going to be in an actual cave. It'll probably be on some very expensive couches somewhere. But they'll talk about it and make up their mind in the next few days. And I think we'll have an answer in relatively short order.
But Brian, in the reckless rumor cave that I live in, it does seem like the Lakers are the obvious answer right now. Is that the way it looks to you? Is it that obvious at this point?
So I do believe that the Lakers have an inside track. I would say that they're the leader at the moment. It's going to be very important when they get to speak to LeBron, or at least present their case to LeBron's agent, how they present their plan. And if they are able to present a plan that LeBron feels comfortable with, I think they've got a great chance of landing him. And the bottom line is this. Does LeBron feel comfortable going to the Lakers if there's no Kawhi Leonard and there's no Paul George? Because that is a realistic scenario at this point. Does LeBron feel like the city of Los Angeles and having him on the roster and the draw of the Lakers and Magic Johnson will ultimately allow that team to build around him? And maybe it will take 2 years, like Magic Johnson said the other day. And maybe LeBron won't like what he hears there. And maybe LeBron will say, you know what? I want to run it back 1 year more in Cleveland and see what we can do maybe in 2019. But I think that the Lakers present a coherent plan, which they haven't always done in the past. Their free agent meetings in the past, guys, have not always gone well. But this is Magic and Rob Pelinka getting to do it this time. And if they win that meeting, they may have LeBron James in a week or so.
Now, you mentioned Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. We've heard reports that LeBron might want to play with either of those guys. But do you have any confidence that there's any particular guy that he would want to play with?
You know, I think what LeBron wants is guys that he feels comfortable with and the guys that will help him beat the Golden State Warriors. And heck, if he comes west, he's going to have to worry about the Houston Rockets too, because they're very good. And Paul George and Kawhi Leonard fit that bill because they're tremendously talented two-way wing players. You would love to be able to play with those guys. But I don't know if that's going to be the reality. It may be something that they have to build longer term. And remember, just because you have salary cap space, which the Lakers have, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use it on a free agent. You can use it in trades. And if the Lakers can't make a trade for Kawhi Leonard, it's possible they could make another trade for another star player who would want to come to LA with LeBron James. But all of these things would be predicated on the future, which we'd have to wait and see how this free agency plays out.
Now, Brian, Stephen A. Smith reported this morning that Dan Gilbert actually might not mind if LeBron left because then he could get his team back. How does that jive with what you've heard and what you've experienced being around that team?
Well, I think Dan Gilbert wants LeBron on his team. There's no question about that. He wants LeBron to come back. He's willing to sign him to the largest contract in team history, if he's willing to take it. But I do believe that someday Dan Gilbert, whether it's 5 years from now or 5 minutes from now, someday I think Dan Gilbert would like the challenge of building a team. That's not a surprise. I think if you go back and look at the Bulls 20 years ago, when Michael Jordan retired and Phil Jackson left, Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf were very excited about building a team. And they tanked and they got Elton Brand. They were very excited about where they were going. 20 years later, they haven't been back to the finals. But there's a reality where you could want to refresh the situation. And the fact that Dan Gilbert really prioritized getting a draft pick for Kyrie Irving, I think was an indication that he is excited about younger players on his team.
All right, Brian, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.